Hello and welcome my Hearts of Iron friends. Today we have something new. It's called Stellaris. It's a great X4 space game from Paradox, and as you know, it's not a new game, but for me that is much better, since now it's balanced and it's the perfect timing for playing because it's really enjoyable now. You need for a game to be balanced, if not see what happened with Victoria. Is kind of a great game, great idea, but it's not fun because, for example, I play with Uruguay and conquer England, and that's kind of too much unbalanced. Not a challenge, but yes, this is a challenge. I played this game a lot a few years or maybe months ago, and now I played again and was vassalized by a neighbor country. They have modified they are improving the game all the time, and I think that now it's a great time for playing. So let's get started by reviewing, but you can decide if you like it or not. Well, first let's start by saying that it's a possible real-time game like Hearts of Iron, like kind of all the Paradox game. That is an improvement because they make the game far more realistic than the standard turn-based game, because if you play a turn-based game, it's kind of game me, because the enemy moves, you move, the enemy moves. It's kind of makes not much sense. It's not a good simulation. On the other hand, this game is continuous. You can pause it anytime and make all modification, give orders, and then you unpass. You can speed up and slow down your speed. The second reason is extremely well written. You have stories that are not just dumb stories, they are based, they have scientific base. You find anomaly, you do research, you find dig sites. For example, we have a dig site, we can offer the option to research, so they will start investigating, and you are presented with pop-ups that tell you a story that is a very well written story. Believe me, you are going to get hooked by all the stories. It's kind of a game, but it's also a book, a super interesting book with profound scientific based stories, not dumb stories. So the narrative behind this game is just great. It's not a game like Hearts of Iron that is made by historians and gamers. Well, this game is made by scientifics and gamers. The idea of this game is that you start with one planet, like you have two views, map view, and you have another view that is planetary level. For example, this is an event that I was just telling you, that the narrative is perfect. You can read this, you're going to enjoy a lot these stories, and it's kind of you take a decision. Usually you have many options, and then are presented many options. So you are branching through different stories at the same time that you can explore. Basically, as I was saying, you start with one planet, and from there you start exploring and surveying your planets nearby, and then you send your construction ships to build stations, and you gain income from the planets and from stations. So it's kind of two levels complexity, because you have the economy of the planets that is super complex. These are up here we have planets, and you have the economy from the station. So you can you have technologies that give you improvements in the planets, and another that give you improvements on the station. You can see the resources and how much you collect and spend from planets and from stations. So it's not a simple economy, it's super complex economy you have in the planets. The management of the planets also is great. You have the 3 strata levels, all the kind of workers. You have races, different races, robots, androids, cybernetics, whatever you can imagine, it's there. You can give edicts, decisions to the planet. You have blockers in the planet that are characteristics that block, but with research you can unblock them. And you have a capital in the planets, a main city that you can expand, and expanding the city you will get the option to build more city buildings that are this one, but at the same time you can expand the district that is kind of the lawn around the planets. So you have always several options for building the same thing. For example, this will build consumer goods, it will transform, it's also a chain of production. Down there it says that will transform mineral into consumer goods, and it will produce some shops and some effects. But at the same time you have a building that does kind of a similar effects. For example, it's going kind of refinery, manufacturing, this one. As you can see, it's almost similar but different in the value, so you must balance very careful because you have an habitational needs, employment, happiness, and sometimes it's better to build a district and sometimes it's better to improve your capital, your home city. And it's not that simple, it's depending on the race, the configuration, the technologies, your type of economy is super complex, the management of the cities. Of course you can simplify it, give out orders, but the idea is to maximize. So it's not linear like Civilization. If you play Civilization, you are going to find Civilization very boring after playing this game. About war is also great, well balanced. You can build stations. It's not like Crusader Kings that you send an army, crush the enemy, and that's all. Here you need to use tactics. War are not simple. You can build station, improve them, build defense models within the station. You should put them in strategic locations. Planets, I mean systems, are connected by these lines that are kind of hyper jumps. And you can build certain amount of stations. This number is limited by many factors. And also you have your fleet with different ships that you can customize and use different weapons that you can equip or modify depending on the technology that you have. You have beams, lasers, shields, armor, all that you can imagine. And it's kind of, you can do hit and run tactics, you can lure them. It's not easy. The war is very nice, very well balanced, and you should do intelligence on the enemy, and I fail on that on this game. I jumped too much my economy and the enemy rushed me, so I did not have time to prepare my forces. You should always have a standing army. The enemies keep checking your army, and if your army is weak, your fleet is weak, they will attack you. So it's not like Hearts of Iron that you can have just one unit and nothing will happen. Here, if you weaken your frontier, your borders, you are going to be tempting the enemy to attack you. The technology is massive, the stories, the names are great, but it's also much better than the usual technology trees because it's not a tree. You have cards, and based on a lot of factors of your race, your customization, your civilization, your leaders, you're going to have chances of getting one card off another. So you can direct your technology to the goal that you want, but you cannot repeat that strategy always in every game because the cards have certain amount of random. So for me it's much better because you need to, according to the situation, pick what the card is best for you, and each card will have some influence in the future about the technologies that you are getting to be offered. So you must think every time, and every time you play is kind of different. So this not using a tree in technology for me adds a lot of replayability, and it makes the game more realistic, you hook more into the game. And to make things far more complex, there is another kind of technology that is called tradition, but is less oriented to technology and more oriented to society. This also gives a lot of bonuses, super powerful like traditions, but this one you can pick every time you research and you accumulate culture. You can pick a new tradition and add that tradition. I don't have more to pick, and then you can start fooling the tradition, and this is very important, super important, because it should synergize with your race, with your technology, with your strategy. And if that is not enough, after you finish each of these traditions, you can pick an ascendancy tradition that is even more complex. You have several options here, and they also are going to be shaping your society even more, and these ones produce super profound impact. And after a while the game will go kind of never ending, because it's going to be like you are going to be unblocking more of these traditions, and you can end up modifying your race, and you should pick a kind of a path. If you are going to be cybernetic, like a cyborg, like a Borg, you're going to be genetically modified. You're not going to have implants, robotic implants. You're going to modify your race to tolerate new environments or be more intelligent, whatever you want. Or you can go the spiritual way and transform into yourself into a telepathic race. Or you can go cyborg, like cyberpunk, that will be kind of an intermediate between robotics and humans. Also, the planets have a very complex model of population. In this scenario I just started, so have only my main race, and I have robots that I'm producing. I'm capable of producing robots, but you can have immigration and therefore have more population from different races, and you can use that to explore planets that you have low suitability. This one is the adaptability that the humans have on this planet, but I can send my, for example, if I get relations with some other people, I can get them to explore for me other planets. And also I have robots. These robots tolerate any environment. It's an advantage of my research, that I can produce robots and can use them to colonize planets, but at least I need some kind of leaders to found the main station in the planet. But later you can modify the AI of the robots to be more intelligent. But beware, you can trigger a revolution from the robots against you, so you must contemplate all the aspects in this game. You have factions. Also, your society is very complex. You have factions, and within your nation, your empire, and factions have goals, and some goals make them more happy, and some others make them more unhappy. So this is another thing you must contemplate when your empire gets bigger. Managing the population, you should keep them happy and they will produce more. But you can do a lot here. You can do a lot by changing your society. You can promote some ideas or another, and all ideas and factions have different and huge impacts. This is the government window page. Here you can have an agenda. You have minister with characteristic. Also there you have the factions and my current society. But here you have a very important list of how to model your society that will make factions happy or unhappy. You have edicts. The edicts list will keep growing as you modify you increase your tradition and your technology. You are going to get lots and lots of edicts. Will not fit in this page. And you also have a lot of modification of laws that you can change every 10 years, that are your policies. This is, for example, your policies against border. You can be friendly, closed borders, mercantile, whatever you can, and each of these policies will have an effect on many variables of the game. It's kind of super complex. It's not a straightforward decision. You should take a decision according to your situation, your war policies, and all of the decisions you make here have an impact. They have bonuses and maluses. There is not a better option. It's only a better option for you in certain situations, and they will also make happy or unhappy certain factions on the population. So it's impressive, just impressive. I love it. If you love complexity, you are going to find this game is very easy to play. You start playing the game by just exploring and sending the construction ship, and then you start gathering production, and you can completely ignore the factions at the start of the game and what I have shown you. But later, like with Hearts of Iron, you are going to keep learning more things and more things and more tricks, and you are going to be mastering the game and enjoy it much more. This is, for example, a shipyard. Here you can produce new ships. Those are my ships. I can, with technologies, you are going to get a lot of upgrades and defensive possibilities and things you can build in a station. You are going to be the station bigger and bigger, and you can going to be add more models, different types of models. So it's super expandable. And here you can see the trade routes. Unfortunately, my empire is very small, but you are going to be connecting your star bases that are going to be collecting trade around the bases, and they are going to be transferring the trade to your home planet. So you must protect your train lanes by patrolling with ships. Also, as I was saying, when you start digging and researching, you are going to find anomalies and strange things in space, and they will start getting a log here, and you will be updating the log. You will have all the information, because there are going a lot of events and things going on, and it's going to be quite complex to keep track. So you can see all the investigations, the research that are going on regarding the diggings or anomalies found in space. And this is the list of species of races that I have on my planet. So far on my only main race and my robots, but you can modify your race. The robots are kind of mechanical modifications. You can create a template, and these are the characteristics. Or you can genetically modify my humans, but they have 0 points. But in theory, when you have enough points, you can modify them. Let's see, we can create template. Here we are. The robots have this characteristic, and you can add and remove. Of course, the maluses will give you a point, and you can use this point to add a bonus. And when you start the game, you can customize your empire, your race, and it's super important when you get experience. The difference are super impressive. For example, you have one line that you can pick this way or this way. This is an empire like the Emperor of the Star Wars, super evil. This is a dictatorship, authoritarian. It's kind of a Konduku. This is that you are an hybrid race, not any direction. You can, if you pick this, you can pick any of these, and this is like equalitarian and super equalitarian. This is kind of the federation of StarTech, and you have some points and can do several combinations. And this path, this line, this axis, it means if you are going to be robotic, materialistic, or spiritual, like kind yoga, psychic power. So if you are going telepathic, you should go this path. If you are going to be robotic, you should go this path. And this path is pacifist like Gandhi, and this kind of a war nation. And this direction if you are going to be going trade, and this one if you are going to be xenophobic, that is you hate everyone. It's like of a closed society like Japan. So you can go, for example, 1 point here and 2 points in this direction and one of this. This will make you a kind of technological society with a dictatorship. You can go kind of pacifist, that will give you production bonuses and maybe closed society. You are kind of, I don't know, maybe a super peaceful Chinese society. Or you can go with, as you know, every path you take, you are going to also be having a different type of government. If you go on this path of authoritarian, you're going to need to pick an emperor or a dictatorship. You cannot pick a democracy, and you have bonuses also here. And to customize furthermore your society, you should pick 2 civics that are super good modifiers that synergize with your society. So for example, if you are going to pick commercial, there is an ethic that kind of you make more money with your clerk. If you are going to be going a dictatorship, you have this ethic available. You don't have all ethics for all the combination, but if you are a dictator, you have a dictatorship, you have the police state, or also you have an emperorship, and it's all interrelated, super complex, and this will determine that faction that you start with. But as you expand your empire, of course you are going to be people that don't think like you, so you have to use kind of coercion or like civilized method in a democracy to join all your people under your banner. Is super complex and I love it. For me it's a very good thing, the complexity, so it's great game. And as I was saying, the game is mature, is balanced, because you may have tons of games with this same kind of looks like this, but when you start playing you find it boring because it's not challenging. You will not have this problem in Stellaris. Hope you find this review useful. Of course, for me it's a 10/10. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. And if you have questions, of course, below. Thank you very much. Bye bye.